What's up, Falcons Nation? It's your boy Jew coming at you guys with another edition of What's the Word, Dirty Bird. As always, we're going to get into a couple topics tonight. Of course, we're going to talk about the matchup, tomorrow's matchup with the Minnesota Vikings. We're going to also talk about Desmond Ritter and him being benched and Taylor Heineke taking over as the starting quarterback for this week for our Atlanta Falcons. And then, of course, we're going to jump into a lot more as well, your questions, some Q&A. Also possibly drop the link to let you guys come in and join me and jump into the chat as well, if you guys want to jump on with me. But I'll give you guys a couple minutes to jump in here. But I hope you guys are having a great Saturday. I'm looking forward to this game tomorrow between the Falcons and the Vikings. It's a big game for our Falcons, being 4-4, being atop the division, but teams right on our heels. So we definitely got to pick up the momentum if we want to be a playoff team this year. And if we want to win the division, we definitely going to have to start putting together a win streak. But with that being said, I'm gonna give you guys a chance to get in here. Once you come in, please hit that like, hit that subscribe button for your boy. We're currently on the road to 3K, but I appreciate each and every one of you guys for your continued support. But with that being said, we're gonna jump into the first topic of the day, and I want to start with the Desmond Ritter benching this week that took place. Basically, we know last week Desmond Ritter, they stated that he was basically thought he had a concussion, so he went into the blue tent during the game last week against the Tennessee Titans, and he passed concussion protocol, so no longer in concussion protocol. But we know on Wednesday, Coach Smith decided that they will move forward with Taylor Heineke. They say this for just this week, but we'll see how that goes moving forward. But they decided to move forward with Taylor Heineke as the starter for this week. And I kind of want to give my thoughts on this. But before I give my little soliloquy and how I currently feel about the Desmond Ritter benching, just want to say what's up to you guys. And my boy, Mad Mike in the chat, man, what's going on, Mad Mike? Y'all definitely go hit that like and subscribe button on this channel. He's on the quest for 9,000 or 9K. You guys definitely go over and hit that like and subscribe button. That's 1/3 of the heavy hitters. And Dre Murphy says, "What up, everybody? How everybody doing and feeling on this hot, nice, pretty Saturday afternoon?" Yeah, I hope you're doing great, man. I'm definitely doing good as well. He says, "I hope and pray and wish it's this week, though, bro." Bruh. Yeah, most definitely. But with that being said, I kind of want to give you guys just my quick thoughts. And you guys make sure you like and share this out as well. I see Michael in the chat as well. What's going on, man? I appreciate you joining me on this Saturday afternoon. I hope you're having a good day as well. But with that being said, as I mentioned, I do want to talk about this Desmond Ritter benching. Personally, I talked about it just briefly during the heavy hitter show because, of course, we had guests on the show with us with the Tennessee Titans. So I kind of want to go ahead and like chop this thing up because I've been seeing a lot of different things on social media all week. This has been a hot topic about Desmond Ritter's benching, and I've been seeing a lot of things that kind of been rubbing me the wrong way when it comes to Desmond Ritter and with this Atlanta Falcons organization altogether, and also with our coaching staff, Arthur Smith and the front office. Um, with this Desmond Ritter benching, I really don't like it because to me it feels kind of like a panic move by our Atlanta Falcons and by Arthur Smith or whoever decided to make this decision. You're putting the team in a tough position. I feel like you're putting Taylor Heineke in an awkward position, and you put in Desmond Ritter and everybody on this team in a weird position. I feel like at this point, because you've benched Desmond Ritter, you're kind of going to have to now stick with Taylor Heineke because you basically are stating that you don't believe in Desmond Ritter. You don't believe that he gives this team the best chance to win. And personally, I don't necessarily subscribe to that. I don't necessarily believe that. I really thought that this year was going to be Desmond. This was going to be Desmond Ritter's team, that they were going to give him a chance to develop as a first-year starter to see what he can do. And to me, he's done a solid job. Yes, he's turned the ball over. Yes, he's made mistakes, but who hasn't? I've seen, bad coaching calls. We've seen Kurt Warner, the cut-ups that he put basically on social media, on Twitter, where we've seen plays that were long development plays where the defensive end is unblocked. I heard that Desmond Ritter is staring down receivers. But when I'm looking at a lot of those cut-ups in the film, in the all 22s, I'm looking at poor spacing. I'm looking at guys that are running down the field 15 yards down the field before they even turn around and look for the ball. And on Sunday last week, to me, a lot of those plays that Desmond Ritter took sacks, most of the cut-ups that Kurt Warner showed, basically it looked like nobody was open at the time. Like everybody was running down the field, and Desmond Ritter had no choice but to take the sack because he was in the pocket, so he couldn't throw the ball away if it would have been intentional grounding. So it looked like it was more on the scheme and the game plan to me over it was on Desmond Ritter. Yes, I feel like Desmond Ritter does have to own ball security, and he talked about that when he was interviewed by the media, that he felt like the reason that they moved forward and that he's getting benched is because of ball security. And we heard Arthur Smith talking about the different variables of why they decided to bench Desmond Ritter and go with Taylor Heineke. But personally, I don't agree with it. I don't also subscribe to, I've been seeing a lot of people talking about first round picks get a longer leash than third round picks. And, I agree with that. I do feel like a lot of organizations, because they don't want to admit when they've made a mistake in scouting a player, they will give first round picks a longer leash because they don't want to look wrong. They don't want to get fired, like GMs and scouts and things of that nature. If they do pick a player, in the first round and that player turns out to be a bust, a lot of times you do see those guys get a little bit longer leash than a third round pick or a second or fourth round pick. But I don't subscribe to that. Personally, I feel like Desmond Ritter deserved the opportunity to continue to be the starter of the team because he has our team in first place right now. It's not just him, it's the whole team. But to me, just watching these, the first 8 games of the season, I don't feel like Taylor Heineke necessarily gives this team the best chance to win. I really don't feel like Desmond Ritter is the sole reason why this Atlanta Falcons team is losing games. If I felt like he was the guy that was, or he was the focal reason of why this Atlanta Falcons team was struggling, I could get behind the coaching staff, with them making this move. But personally, I feel like you're setting yourself up for failure with this benching of Desmond Ritter because you have to think about it. Desmond Ritter, yes, he's a third round pick, but the advantage of playing your rookies, a third round pick, is to see what he's made of. If you gave him this full season, to kind of develop and and play better and see what you have, you will know whether you need to pay him. And I'll give you a prime example. If you look at the Green Bay Packers and Jordan Love and the situation that they went through when they drafted him in the first round, they had Aaron Rodgers still on the team making big money. And they basically didn't play Jordan Love for his first 4 years. So basically his whole rookie deal where you could have been playing him and then paying other guys, like building a defense, building, paying your wide receivers like Devontae Adams, paying the ancillary pieces around the quarterback. If they would have played Jordan Love and moved on from Aaron Rodgers a little bit earlier, I feel like they would have had an opportunity possibly to set themselves up for success in the future. And they would have known that Jordan Love wasn't the quarterback or wasn't that franchise guy. But because they waited and had him basically sit behind Aaron Rodgers for those 3 or 4 years that he sat, basically they weren't able to take advantage of him making a rookie salary. They weren't able to figure out what he was. So they had to actually give Jordan Love an extension before this season started because at this point, he was outside of that rookie contract. So I don't subscribe to drafting guys in the first round or even quarterbacks. If you're gonna give the keys to the guy and say that we're behind this guy 100%, I feel like you got to give that person the keys, give that player the keys, and let them run with it. But once you move on to a veteran guy like a Taylor Heineke, to me, you're telling the whole locker room that you don't believe in Desmond Ritter, that you don't believe he gives this team the best chance to win. And I feel like in this scenario, this is a poor decision because if you think about it, this to me, these next 2 games would have been the perfect games to have Desmond Ritter still playing because you're playing the Minnesota Vikings, a team that's in the middle of the pack, I believe they're 4-4 as well, or 3-4, but they don't have a great record. And then after that, you have the Arizona Cardinals. So these two games to me would have been a perfect time to, play Desmond Ridder and see what you have, continue to develop him, and also to build his confidence. Because if Taylor Heinicke doesn't play well tomorrow, or if he doesn't play well in these next two games, you have your bye week. Then you have the New Orleans Saints coming in. So we know that that's going to be a huge game as far as the NFC South goes, as far as playoff implications. So I really feel like keeping Desmond Ridder as a starting quarterback for these next 2 weeks, the Vikings and the Arizona Cardinals. Personally, I think that this would have been the perfect time to keep him in there, because the Vikings are dealing with a rash of injuries, just like the Falcons. They without Justin Jefferson, they're without Kirk Cousins. They're playing a rookie quarterback themselves. A lot of their team has been hit with injuries, just like the Falcons. And then we know the Arizona Cardinals just traded away Josh Dobbs, who was their starting quarterback, and they're another team that's kind of like in a rebuild mode. So if you can't feel like you can win with Desmond Ridder against the next two opponents that you have coming up, I really don't feel like the team is going to buy into, okay, Taylor Heinicke doesn't play well these next 2 weeks. You have a bye week, and the next game is the New Orleans Saints, which I believe is at New Orleans, if I'm not mistaken. If you couldn't believe in Desmond Ridder to beat, win these next two games against the Vikings, who's a team that's kind of been middle of the pack, and then a struggling Arizona Cardinals team, I really feel like these would have been two games where they could have built momentum. But now you taking him out, I really feel like this move feels very dysfunctional. And I don't like the way that Arthur Smith basically addressed the media. To me, he didn't stand 10 toes down on his decision. First he originally came out and said, well, Desmond Ridder had a concussion, or he was in concussion protocol, so we went with Taylor Heinicke, but it wasn't because of his performance. And then he came back Wednesday and stated, when he, made the switch, well, it was other variables involved, not just his injuries. So I really kind of wanted him to divulge and kind of share what other variables there were. I really feel like Desmond Ridder kind of shared it and brought it to light when he started talking about the turnovers and things of that nature, about him, him in the ball security. But I really feel like the mistakes that we've seen out of Desmond Ridder are correctable mistakes. Like if we think about the picks that he's thrown this year and the fumbles that he had, to me, they're not plays where you're like, this is who the player is, that he's just a turnover machine. The one against the Bucks where he's running in, that's a simple sprint all the way until you get into the end zone, protect the football. That was either a turnover or a touchdown, and he was going in for a touchdown. So I really feel like that's not a situation where I feel like you make a decision on benching a player because of an instance in that, in that situation. Also on the 1 yard line, him and Dahlman with the snap. You see that happen with veteran guys, a poor snap. And we know that Drew Dahlman isn't the best center, you know, as far as when it comes to consistently snapping the ball. He's been struggling this year with snapping the ball. He's been playing basketball with the football. So I really feel like there's been other variables, other guys that are not playing well, coaching errors. We know in the game where Desmond Ridder threw the 3 picks that he wasn't even hearing the plays or getting the plays in on time. So it's been a lot of other factors, to me, that's bigger problems than Desmond Ridder. But I really feel like Desmond Ridder's kind of been the scapegoat in this whole situation. And that's really why I can't get behind or subscribe to benching Desmond Ridder, that this is the right decision. Normally, you guys know I stand behind the team, and I still stand behind the team. I just don't feel like this decision that we're making is the right decision, because to me, Taylor Heinicke is not a long-term decision. You're bringing him in, bringing him in. Basically, we know he's a career backup type player, but you're bringing him in like he's franchise or long-term quality starting quarterback. Like, he's a bona fide type player. And to me, he's a solid player, but I feel like he's a gunslinger. And I've mentioned this before, that he's going to throw picks as well. He's going to turn the ball over possibly as well. So I feel like you're giving yourself a no-win situation, because now if Taylor Heinicke doesn't play well, where do you turn from here? Are you going to go back to Desmond Ridder if he doesn't play well? So I really feel like unless we went on some type of losing streak, that's the only time to me where it would have been acceptable to say we're moving on from Desmond Ridder. I don't feel like this is the right time. I really feel like this team is still, developing. There's still a lot of young guys on this team like Bijan Robinson, Drake London's in his second year, Tyler Algier is in his second year. So you still have a lot of young players on this offensive side of the ball. And I feel like some of the issues that I'm seeing on the offense, it's a lot of different reasons why this Atlanta Falcons offense is struggling. Play calling has been a problem. Drop passes has been a problem. It's just been a lot of different problems. But I really feel like everybody's just focusing in on Desmond Ridder and stating that, that's the biggest issue. Now, good news is we're going to find out tomorrow if Desmond Ridder was the issue, because we get to watch Taylor Heinicke go out there and operate. Once Taylor Heinicke got in the game last week, do I think that he processed things a little bit faster? Do I think the ball was coming out a little bit faster? Yes, because he's a veteran guy. He's been in the league over 4 or 5 years at this point. So I expect him to be a little bit sharper than a Desmond Ridder, just for the mere fact that he has been in the league longer as a veteran type guy. But I feel like if you keep bringing in veteran guys and putting them in front of the younger guys, which we did in our last regime with Dan Quinn, but it would go out and instead of seeing what they had in their draft picks, consistently bringing in veteran guys in front of younger guys, you stunt their growth. And that's what I don't want to see happen with Desmond Ridder. I really don't feel like it's a lot that he's going to be able to learn from the sideline. Yeah, he can, talk to Taylor Heinicke on the sideline. Yeah, they have the tablets on the sidelines and things of that nature. But I just feel like this benching, to me, feels more like a permanent benching. They say this for 1 week, but I'm not really buying that because, I've been saying this all week. If Taylor Heinicke goes out there and win this week against the Minnesota Vikings and the team plays well and everybody's gotten behind Taylor Heinicke, all of those starters, guys like Kyle Pitts, guys like Jonnu Smith, the offensive line, you really don't want to have this quarterback carousel where you're going back and forth, back and forth. At some point, Arthur Smith's going to have to make the decision. This is my guy. This is who we riding with. Unless injury strike, this is who I'm riding with. And I really feel like, to me, that's my biggest issue, is that it just seems like a panic move. It kind of seems like Arthur Smith is looking at last season and what happened with Marcus Mariota, and a lot of people stating that we should have moved forward earlier on in the season and allowed Desmond Ridder to play earlier last season, which I personally think that now looking at it, hindsight is always 2020. It probably would have been better to move on because we know what ended up happening with Marcus Mariota, him leaving the team and all of that. It possibly would have been better to play Desmond Ridder a little bit more last year to give him more experience, but it is what it is at this point. So, that's kind of how I'm feeling about it. When I open up drop the link and things of that nature later on in the show, if you guys want to come in and tell me why you feel like this is a good benching, because I've been seeing all kind of stuff on Twitter. I've been seeing all different, YouTubers and podcasters talking about why they feel like it was the right move. I've been hearing, the media stating that it was time for Ridder to be benched, and you only first round picks deserve to have long leash when it comes to giving them opportunities. And, if you guys want to come in later on in the show and kind of tell me why you feel like Desmond Ridder is not the right quarterback for the Falcons, or why you feel like after he's 6-6. So after, the games that we've seen him play, after 12 games, if you come to the conclusion that, Desmond Ridder is not it, I want to hear you guys' reasonings behind why you feel like Desmond Ridder couldn't develop into a franchise guy, or why you feel like it's time for Taylor Heinicke to take over at the helm. I mean, I do see the turnovers. I understand that. But to me, from what I've seen, to me, the turnovers are not that egregious where you have to say, well, now it's time to bench a player, because now you're giving Taylor Heinicke a short leash as well. Because if he goes out there in this game or the next couple games, and I'm not praying on his downfall, I do think Taylor Heinicke is a solid backup, but I'm not going to sit here and also act like he's a better player than Desmond Ridder, because I can't say that. I keep telling you guys, I don't know what Desmond Ridder is yet. And I really feel like because he's a third round pick, because he wasn't a guy that was hyped in the draft, and because, scouts and things of that nature didn't speak that glowingly about Desmond Ridder, I feel like a lot of people are just going by, okay, he was drafted in the third round, so he's not that talented. And I really feel like if you go look at the tape, you go look at his record at Cincinnati, that dispels a lot of those, that narrative that he's not a good player, or that he doesn't have the skill set to be successful in the NFL as a starter. But with that being said, I know I've said a bunch here. So let me jump in the chat and say what's up to you guys, man. I appreciate you guys kind of let me get that out. Let's see here. Michael says, I think this move is temporary to let him calm down. Okay, I hope that's what it is. I hope that Desmond Ritter Arthur Smith hasn't hit the panic button. Draver said, I don't like this move either, Jew. Point blank, period. End of discussion. Says this move is to cover Arthur Smith's because he is the next one out the door. Yeah, that could be true. That could be true. He could be trying to save his own bacon. And Michael says, who's our wide receivers coach? I think it's TJ Yates, if I'm not mistaken, former quarterback. So yeah. Wallace Smith, he said, what's going on? What's happening, man? I appreciate you joining me this afternoon or this evening. And D. Lawson says, it had to be done. Okay. I mean, I hear what you're saying. I want to hear you guys. I definitely gonna give you guys a chance. I'm gonna hit that drop that link so you guys can hit the link later and tell me your reason behind it. And he says DR9 is the same as Mariota at this point. I mean, the record's the same. I don't know if he's the same. I think that if we go look at his passing touchdowns and stuff like that and his completion percentage, I don't think that their numbers are the same. Our defense has us in first place. Yeah, I mean, it's a team sport. So I mean, if that's what you're saying, I mean, I feel like having a solid defense is a part of the team. That's a part of the team. It's been years when we had Matt Ryan where the offense for most of the time was carrying the Atlanta Falcons team. So now the defense is doing their part, which is complementary football. And Mario says Ritter is not the sole reason, but he's a big part of it. I guess so. I mean, I guess I can agree with that. I say he's a part of it. I don't know about a big part of it, but he's a part of it. And Blanco says we don't have the time to wait for Dez to get better. I don't agree with that. I really don't agree with that. I think we have plenty of time. I think we have time because you're winning games. You're in first place. So it's not like if we were the Panthers, if we was 0-6 or 1-6, then I could say, okay, we're not going nowhere anyway. But right now to make this decision and say you're not going nowhere, I think to me personally, just looking at the facts is not the truth. If you're in first place, how are you not going nowhere? Or how do we not have time? He's been improving week in and week out. Ritter's not a starter. He's a backup. Okay. Y'all, all the ones that give me those type of comments, when I drop the link, I want y'all to come in here and tell me why. Blanco says, we need a winning season now or this coaching staff probably gone. Well, I don't necessarily think that they are gone if they don't make the playoffs. Personally, I mean, I don't think that Arthur Smith is that type of owner. I really feel like Arthur Smith thinks sober. He makes sober decisions. As I tell people, don't make drunk decisions, but make sober decisions. I think that Arthur Blank, he gives usually for coaches, he gives a longer leash than 3 years. This is Arthur Smith's third year. If Arthur Blank would have fired Arthur Smith, I would be shocked because that's not his temperament. That's not a type of owner that he is. He's usually not that quick to jump off a ship, especially after somebody that he basically hired. And they took their time. You guys remember prior to hiring Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot, they left no stone unturned. Like they interviewed a lot of coaches, a lot of GMs. So I don't feel like, they're going to just scrap this whole coaching staff after this year. I really don't feel that way. I'll be shocked. Even if we go on a crazy losing streak, I don't see them firing Arthur Smith after 3 seasons. And Mario says, you see Will Levis in 2 games look way better than Ritter already. Well, I can't just point at Will Levis because to me, I seen in that Steelers versus Titans matchup, we seen some rookie mistakes out of Will Levis. Will Levis played well against us, but those were, I'll say this, Will Levis looked really good in his first 2 starts. I agree with you there, but I can't say like everybody progresses like in their own time. So everybody don't come out with their hair on fire. It's every player has their own process. So it takes them a different amount of time to actually become what they're going to become. Like even Will Levis with those 2 games, that really, you can't really tell what a person is after 2 games. We've seen Desmond Ritter throw for 300 yards 2 times. I think it was in back-to-back weeks. But you can't make a decision off of that. That one game or 2 games that Will Levis has had, I can't make my decision off that. We dang near seen Carson Wentz win an MVP the year that the Philadelphia Eagles went to the Super Bowl. And that dude is not even in the NFL no more. So that just goes to show you why they say not for long with the NFL. And that just goes to show you that just having a couple good games don't make you a great player or don't mean that you figured it out. It takes time. And that's why I say, to me, when it comes to quarterbacks or pretty much any player, I got to see at least three consecutive years or 3 years of consistency for me to make my decision on, okay, yeah, this guy's, a great player. I don't start calling players great until I've seen it over consistently. You got to see it consistently, not just one good season. I've seen players have a receiver have 1,000 yards in 1 year. That don't make you great. You got to consistently put up numbers. Matt Ryan had like 10 straight seasons, putting up 10 straight seasons of 4,000 yards passing. That makes you generational. That makes you, a great player because you can consistently do it. It's not just a hit and miss. 1 week you're good, 1 week you're bad. It's consistent. Let's see here. And Wild Smith says the offensive line not playing up to their potential, and some of the play calling is some part of Ritter's bad play. Exactly. Yeah, it's a both. It's the streak goes both ways. I'm not saying that Desmond Ritter's been perfect because I came on the after show and the post game show, and we talked about it on the heavy hitters talked about it where we stated that game against the Bucks where we had 3 turnovers, 3 fumbles. We were blessed to win that game because the defense stepped up and Desmond Ritter late in the game made some clutch throws. He made that clutch throw to, I believe it was Kyle Pitts down the seam, which put us in field goal range. But we've said it. He hasn't played well every single game. And I'm not saying that he should be absolved of any blame. He's a part of the issue too. But to me, he's not the only problem. And I feel like this benching is making it seem like he's the only issue because I didn't see any other players getting benched. I don't see us benching Drew Dalman for playing basketball with the football every time he snapped the ball. So it's easy to just point at the quarterback and say he's the sole reason. Blanco, Vikings still have a good defense, so this is going to be a closer game than we think. Oh yeah, they have a really good defense because they have a good defensive coach. Brian Flores is one of the better defensive coordinators in the NFL, so they have an aggressive defense, but I feel like this would have been 2 games where you build momentum. I don't feel like going to a whole new quarterback and scrapping what you had, the momentum that you already had started, scrapping that. I feel like now it's no turning back. They saying that they're going to go back, but I really feel like it's going to be tough to go back because you're going to have to sell that to the players in the locker room. The locker room, you can't fool these veteran guys. You got guys like Jonnu Smith on this team. You got guys that's like Cordell Patterson. We got veterans on this team. You got guys like Jake Matthews. When you start doing that quarterback carousel, I rarely seen that work in the NFL when you don't get behind a guy and say, this is the guy. This is who we're getting behind. Not keep flip-flopping and then not taking ownership. Because I didn't hear Arthur Smith and none of those guys stand up there and talk about, well, we can call better plays. I seen them getting their feelings because Kurt Warner called them out and he exposed the bad play calling because a lot of times on Sundays, we don't get to see the all 22. On Sundays, they only show half the field. So when a quarterback throw the ball, a lot of times, unless they show a replay, you can't see what coverage the other team was playing. You couldn't see the wide open player that a quarterback missed on certain plays. But when Kurt Warner showed that all 22 film, it exposed our coaching staff. Both Dave Ragone and Arthur Smith got exposed. And I don't care what they say. They were in their feelings about it. They got exposed. Dre says, Michael, exactly. I totally agree with your statement. 100%. Plank bacon, period. End of discussion. And Blanco says, we spent millions to make this team better, and this is what we got. Yeah, but the team looked better. I agree with what you said. Well, we're in first place. I keep saying we're in first place, and this defense at one point was top 10. I don't know if we're still top 10 after last week's game, giving up those big plays to the Titans, but this still has been a really, really good defense. I couldn't remember the last time the Falcons had a great defense like this as far as in the standings. Even the year we went to the Super Bowl, we had a defense that got turnovers, but as far as yardage, we were like 27th ranked defense. I think the year that we went to the Super Bowl in 2016, it was the offense that carried the load. So, having a solid defense, I really feel like is great for this Atlanta Falcons organization because we haven't seen it consistently. And to be honest, if you want to be a consistent team as far as winning consistently, I said this before the season started. The Falcons have built this roster the correct way by building a defense first. I really feel like they did it the right way because if you look at our team looks similar to the 49ers. The 49ers have a great defense. And then if you look at their quarterback, they've had a quarterback carousel. They still trying to figure it out, but they have great weapons around the quarterback. So you don't have to have a generational quarterback to win a Super Bowl. And that's why I keep telling the fans about Desmond Ritter. Everybody's focused on Desmond Ritter has to be generational. You don't need a generational quarterback to win a Super Bowl. Nick Foles for the Eagles was not generational. Brad Johnson for the Buccaneers was not generational. Tom Brady in his first Super Bowl was not a generational quarterback. In his first two Super Bowls, Tom Brady was not generational. He didn't become one of those really, really good Pro Bowl, him taking a game over type quarterbacks until like their third Super Bowl. The first two Super Bowls, if you go look at Tom Brady numbers, they were pedestrian. He wasn't a great quarterback. So that's why I keep telling people. And Tom Brady didn't have great attributes. When y'all talk about the abilities, a super strong arm, can throw the length of the field, that was not Tom Brady. Tom Brady didn't have great athleticism. He was just smart. He was smart. He understood. He watched film. He worked at the game. He worked at his craft, a hard worker. And he used his smarts and he used the things that he learned from his experience of playing, and then he just took advantage of it. And then he always had a great defense supporting him as well, and a great special team supporting him that a lot of people don't talk about. And let's see here. Hucklebuck 71 says Ritter was benched because Arthur Smith's job is on the line. Period. Well, I mean, I don't know if his job's on the line, but I feel like now he's put the microscope on his or the target on his back. Because now if you don't win with this veteran quarterback, there's no more excuses. He's eliminated all of his excuses. When you bench and put in a veteran guy, you give yourself basically he's giving himself no excuses at this point. At least before he had a reason or had an excuse, but now he has no excuse. And Blanco says offense as a whole has been a problem. Yeah, the defense too, though. I agree. The offense has been a problem. But last week, it wasn't just the offense. It was the special teams to me that was the backbreaker last week. And it was the defense last week that gave up all of those explosive plays. So it go hand in hand. I'm not putting all these losses on the offense. It's been the defense as well. The defense haven't come up. They've made plays when they needed to, but last week we got exposed by a rookie. Let's just be real. Will Levis, we made him look like he was a Pro Bowler last week. And Trey says, D. Lawton, I know that though, bro, but I want to win this freaking division and make the freaking playoffs. I'm freaking tired of missing the freaking playoffs every freaking year, bro. Hey, that's us all. We all tired of losing. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next topic, and let me keep scrolling real quick just to say what's up to some of you guys. Tinky Tank, what's going on? Says when the last time they won a Super Bowl. I don't know what he's talking about, but what's up, man? I appreciate you joining. Jamaria says, "What's up, Jew? I just arrived. Hey, what's going on, man? We just having a little bit of talking a little bit about Desmond Ritter. And y'all let me know if y'all want me to drop the link. We can drop the link early if y'all want to talk about it as well. Hucklebuck 71 says there should have been a quarterback competition in the first place to anoint him as a starter after 4 games last year and 8 snaps this preseason, and then say that he is ready shows Arthur Smith. Exactly. Yeah, that does show his arrogance. I agree. I completely agree. I mean, I definitely think that there should have been They should have played a little bit more in the preseason, and I definitely think that there should have been a competition. But I mean, he made his decision. To be honest, if they were going to do what they did by benching Ritter after the first 8 games, I really feel like they should have had a competition. And then I also feel like you should have started with the veteran. You don't start with the rookie and then bench the rookie and go to a veteran. You start with a veteran like you did last year with Marcus Mariota, because you know they should already be up to speed. And then if the veteran don't perform, then at that point you go to your rookie, or you go to your second year, the inexperienced player. D. Lawson says, so we're going to forget about the turnovers, the fumbles. Nah, I seen the fumbles. I completely agree. I seen and you can respectfully disagree. He says, I respectfully disagree. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion. But personally, I just don't feel like Arthur Smith, they're looking real wishy-washy right now. We looking dysfunctional out here. That's all I'm gonna say. I understand why they feel like they have to move on, but now they're gonna have to. Taylor Heineke gonna have to go out there and back up the statements that they've made. They say that Desmond Ritter, ain't ready. So we're gonna see if Taylor Heineke ready. Dre said, yes, sir. Like Jonnu Smith passing the freaking ball to Michael Pruitt in the red zone. Come on, man. All right, so let's see. Ghost Peppers, what's good, you? What's going on, man? I appreciate you joining as well. But let's go ahead and jump into the next topic, man. But that's just been my feel on it, man. Like I said, you guys can feel the way you want to feel, and I'll drop the link so you guys can also come in here and tell me what you feel about this game, and also what you feel about Desmond Ritter. But first, I kind of want to go ahead and give my post pre-game thoughts for this Vikings and Falcons matchup. So heading in this game, I kind of gave you guys my 3 keys to victory yesterday, but I just want to give my quick thoughts on how I think the Falcons can win this game and what the Falcons should do to win this game. As I mentioned, Kirk Cousins went down with a torn Achilles, I believe it was, a ruptured Achilles last week during their game. So they're starting, I believe his name is Jaron Hall, if I'm not mistaken, but they're starting a rookie basically for the Minnesota Vikings. So in this game, because this is a home game for our Atlanta Falcons, we need to get out to a fast start. We need to get out to a fast start, take the running game away from the Minnesota Vikings, make them one-dimensional. I want them to make that quarterback be a participant in this game, make him a big part of the game, and then allow our defensive line to pin their ears back and get after the Minnesota Vikings offense. I really feel like that's going to be the biggest key in this game is getting out to an early start. You got to get out to an early start. You got to play physical and run the ball, because the Minnesota Vikings are a physical football team. They're going to actually bring pressure. They're going to blitz a lot, because that's what Brian Flores believes in. He's not going to allow Taylor Heineke to sit back there and get comfortable. They're going to bring zero blitzes and all kind of blitzes, corners, safeties, any type of disguised blitzing schemes you can think of. We're going to see them tomorrow. So I hope that this offensive line is ready, for what we've seen against the Tennessee Titans, where they was pinning their ears back. I hope we're ready, for another physical game, because the Minnesota Vikings are a physical football team. They're a team that likes to pressure the quarterback, and they like to, put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. So I really feel like in this game, we got to get out to a lead. We got to get the crowd into the game, because crowd noise is a big factor as far as false starts and things of that nature. And when you got a rookie quarterback back there, for his first time, and they're trying to get used to his cadence and things of that nature, I really feel like if we get out to a good start, get the crowd in the game, I really feel like that's going to put a lot of pressure on their quarterback to have to put the ball in the air, which I believe is danger for the Minnesota Vikings, because we know this defense, as I mentioned, this is a top 10 defense. And we know we have one of the better secondaries in the game, guys that can take the football away. So I really feel like if we can get out to a lead and take their running game away, because I really feel like the Minnesota Vikings in this game, their key to this game is going to be running the football as well. They're going to try to get that ball to Cam Akers and Madison and allow them guys to run the football and try to shorten the game. That's going to be their name of the game for them. They want to shorten this game as much as possible, because they know that the Falcons are the more talented team. They know that they got to steal possessions in this game. So field position is going to be big for the Minnesota Vikings to win this game. Turnovers is going to be huge for the Minnesota Vikings to win this game. If they don't force turnovers and if they don't run the ball well in this game and win the field position battle, I really feel like they're not going to be able to beat the Falcons in this game. But I really feel like last week's game, the biggest key for us was field position. We're looking at the fumbles and we're looking at the mistakes that were made. But I really feel like the biggest issue last week in last week's game were fielding those punts within our own 10 to 15 yard line last week by Mike Hughes multiple times. That put us in a very uncomfortable position. And then the play calling didn't help it because we were running long, drawn out plays. And like I mentioned, if you want to see, those bad plays that were called last week, if you go on Twitter, I shared it on my Twitter and retweeted. Basically Kurt Warner breaking down, the plays and guys were just not open. Desmond Ritter had to hold on to the ball because it's going to either be an incomplete pass, an interception, or a sack. On most of the plays that he showed, nobody was open. Nobody even had turned around to look for the football yet. And 3:30, what's going on, man? I appreciate you joining me tonight as well. And let's see here. But I want you guys to go ahead and start dropping your questions in the chat as well. And give me your thoughts on this upcoming game. Give me your thoughts on the Desmond Ritter situation. I'm gonna drop the link for you guys as well. So if you guys want to come in here and join me and give me your reasons of why you think this was the right move, I'll give you guys your opportunity to come in here as well. So I just dropped the link. It should be in the chat. So if you guys want to come in here and join me, you're most welcome to come in here and give me your thoughts on tomorrow's game. Like I said, it's not all doom and gloom. I don't want you guys to feel like I'm against Taylor Heinicke because I've been watching Taylor Heinicke play since he was in college. So I think that the guy's capable. I just don't think the guy is as talented as everybody trying to make it out to be or trying to say he's that much better than Desmond Ritter and we're going to see a huge difference. What's up, man?
What's going on, Jew?
Nothing much, man. What you got for me?
You remember that conversation we had last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're gonna that's just a receipt. We ain't gonna talk about that. I saw when you saw me drop in there, you started laughing.
Yeah.
But look, I got a question for you before we get into that. Okay, with the veteran, well, he's been a backup, but a veteran that's gonna start. Do you think that it's gonna help Arthur Smith to make better play calls?
I don't necessarily think it'll help Arthur Smith. The only way I think it helps Arthur Smith is the experience side of the game because Taylor Heinicke's been in these situations, so he knows how to get the ball out of his hands faster. He processes things faster. So I feel like sometimes when it's a bad play call, having a veteran player, they get you out of bad situations because they already know they'll throw the ball in the dirt and say this play ain't gonna work. If they see the pressure coming, where a rookie may take a sack or not throw the ball away or do like we seen in that game where we had the 3 interceptions by Desmond Ritter. If the play don't get in, usually a veteran, he just going to take the 15-yard or 5-yard penalty for a delay of game. Or he's going to just snap the ball and throw that ball in the stands. That ball would have been a souvenir for somebody. He wouldn't have just lobbed it up, lollipopped it in the end zone. So I feel like in those instances, I think that a veteran will kind of calm it down and they'll be able to help Arthur Smith in that way. Is if it's a bad play call, they may not be able to change anything, but they might not make a big mistake. Like we would have got 3 points. I feel like that was Taylor Heinicke in that situation. He's not throwing that ball, up in the end zone for an intercept, just lollipopping it like that.
Okay. Well, as far as the changing the quarterbacks, I think it was a good move because it's all about timing.
Yeah.
It's all about timing. We don't need to lose our first place in the division, and we just didn't need to stick with it. Not right then. And
I got a question.
Go ahead.
Say now you're good. You can keep. I don't want to break your train of thought, but I got a question.
And by him making it was good timing, and I think he's starting to see the light a little bit. I think he's starting to see a light because I never thought he was going to take him out, unless, like I said, there was an injury.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And with the concussion protocol or whatever you want to call it, that let him off the hook. So now I got to do what I need to do, and that's what he did. And I think it was just good timing. I think it's going to pay dividends tomorrow.
Okay.
But I didn't want him to put Ritter back in because of the woes that the Vikings are having with losing their quarterback, without having Jefferson, a subpar run game. But the defense is decent, and they're gonna make that game interesting.
Yeah. So this is my question I have for you. So if say Taylor Heinicke plays well the next 2 weeks, we win. Are you staying with him the rest of the season? Because he said, well, this is for this game. So do you think he's playing kind of riding the wave, like, okay, I want to see how well he plays, and that he really thinking about going back to Ritter? Or do you think it's like, because my thing is this, to me, it's dysfunctional for you to say he's in for this game, but then say we blow the Vikings out tomorrow, or he plays really well, no turnovers, Heinicke plays a clean game. To me, it's no way that you can go back to Ritter at that situation, even if you want to, because the veteran's going to look at you like, bruh, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's how I look at it. So I want to kind of get your point on that. Like, how do you feel if he plays well? Taylor Heinicke playing with his hair on fire the next 2 weeks. What do you do? Like, even if you personally wanted, because he personally might have wanted to stick with Desmond Ritter. What do you do?
He did. But look, here's the thing. He talked one way with Ritter. Now he's talking another way with Heinicke being in the game, supposed to be the starter. Right. What he's saying now is not going to rattle Heinicke.
Right.
He don't have to watch what he say with Heinicke, because Heinicke understand the game. He understand the ins and the outs. So for him to say, okay, Heinicke, we're going to play you this game. We might play you next game, and then we'll see what happens after the bye. Nah. He playing games with the media.
Right.
And he's trying to preserve Ritter's self-esteem, because it's already hurt him that he took him out.
Right.
He don't want to tell him at this point, hey, Ritter, you done for the year, buddy.
Right. So do you think that's what it is? Do you think he's done no matter how Taylor plays? Because, like, say Taylor doesn't play well, do you think he's going to try to go back, or you don't think he's going to backtrack at all? You think he's just going to let me ride it out and see what happens?
That's why he said we're taking it game by game in case he has to go back to Ritter.
Yeah. So you think he don't know? Right now he's kind of waiting, because how I feel about it, I think that he's kind of like, he believes that Heinicke is going to play better just by seeing what he saw last week in the second half. And I think that he's kind of like, I think he knows in his mind, I'm not going back to Ritter. I'm, like you said, it was just like handling Ritter with kid gloves. Like, I don't want to blow this thing up and make it more than what it is. But I feel like he kind of has like bit itself in the butt, because it's like, okay, if he doesn't play well, to me it looks dysfunctional to even try to go back to Ritter at this point, because you told the team Taylor Heinicke gives us the best chance to win. That's what you tell me when you bench your starter, is that this other guy give me a better chance to win. That's how I'm taking it.
Yeah, but that's Arthur Smith, man. Arthur Smith is like, I'm retired now, but Arthur Smith reminds me of the upper management that I had at the company. He's a corporate-minded guy, and I understand the language. Mm-hmm. I understand the body language, and I understand what he's saying. Right. Arthur Smith is going to save face if he can.
Right.
But see, when the guy from Las Vegas got fired, him and the general manager,
right,
he looking at
yeah,
I got to do something now, because this is a copycat league.
So I got a question for you. Do you think if he didn't have, say we missed the playoffs again, do you think he's fired after this year? Because I really don't. To me, I don't think that Blank has the guts to do it, man. To be honest with you, to me, he's too nice of a guy, and he kind of sees things through. We seen it with DQ. Yeah, he took us to the Super Bowl, but he kind of gave him a long, even when we was like on a downward spiral, he was kind of like, we're going to just ride with him. We're going to ride with him. We ride with him till we was like 0-5. And then he was like, we got to pull the plug. Like he waited to the last resort.
Well, I think that Arthur Blank let Arthur Smith roll the dice
Yeah.
because he hired him before he hired Fontenot.
Right.
And in my own personal opinion, I don't think that Fontenot would have went with Arthur Smith. So he might can buy one more season, but he won't deserve it. If
Yeah.
we don't make the playoffs, if we don't win the division, I don't
Yeah.
think, barring any more injuries,
Yeah.
I don't think that Arthur Smith should be given another season.
Yeah.
But I can see one more.
That's what I see. Now, if it start off rocky or something, he start off 0-5 or something, he can get fired in the middle of the season. Like,
Bye
yeah,
bye.
like what happened with DQ, but I don't see it happen at the end of this season. And to be
No.
honest, just looking at our schedule, even if Ritter stayed in there, this is just me honestly speaking, and I don't know. Yeah, I'm giving my opinion. I don't feel like we would miss the playoffs if we just stayed with Ritter. I really feel like looking at this schedule, we got one of the weakest schedules. Like they say you can't look at the schedule, but just looking at the schedule, I'm like, you got the Panthers again. You got the Minnesota Vikings without their stars. You got the Cardinals. They just got rid of their quarterback. You really should win the next two games. Like, no excuses, no matter who your quarterback is, how I'm feeling. Just looking at talent for talent. It's any given Sunday, any given Thursday, any given, Monday night. Any team can beat any team. But just me personally looking at it, if you prepare the right way, I don't see us losing these next two games. I don't either quarterback played. I wouldn't see us losing.
But you know what? The two games that I'm most concerned with, and that's why I'm hoping that he sticks with Heineken if he's playing decent, at least decent. The two Saints games.
Yeah, those are the crucial games.
Those are the two crucial games right there.
Yeah.
And we don't need a shaky second-year quarterback playing the Saints, especially in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Because they're going to throw the scheme at him, and he's not going to be able to read them. He's not going to understand that. But Heineken gives us the best chance.
Yeah. And I agree with you. That's why I said, like, if you're gonna stay with Ritter, like, I feel like even if Taylor Heineke plays bad the next two games, how do you go back with Desmond Ritter? Because I feel like sometimes getting benched, it can either make you or break you. Like, it can go either way. Because I don't know. To me, Desmond Ritter seems like a fighter. He seems like a guy that a lot of people, he hasn't been given a lot of opportunities. So I think he's more of a fighter, gym rat type. So I don't think this is gonna break him, like, or he crying. I still think he's gonna prepare like he's the starter, but I'm like, if you don't play well these next two games, like, you ain't giving yourself a margin for error if you Arthur Smith at this point. Like, you gotta win. That's how I feel.
Right.
He has to win.
He has to win. But look, I'm gonna give you an example of the difference between Heineke and Ritter. Now, with Drake London being out, if Ritter was the starter, the media, the fans, and everybody would be like, I don't know what they're gonna do without Drake London.
Yeah.
But with Heineke, nobody's even said, and they haven't even made a big deal about Drake London not playing. Right. Because they know Heineken would throw it to anybody.
Yeah. He a gunslinger. He gonna put it out there. Like, he a gunslinger. I like Heineke's game. Like, I've been telling everybody, he went to the same school that my wife graduated from. I'm from Virginia. I grew up in Virginia. He went to Old Dominion University, so he played right down the street. So I've seen the guy play a lot. So I think he's a scrappy dude. Like, he's a good player. He's just a guy that he'll turn the ball over too. Like, he's a gunslinger. You know what I'm saying? So gunslingers, They gonna let it fly. Like we seen last week, he's gonna let it fly. So I definitely think we beat the Vikings, but last week I was like, thought we had the Titans too. And then you gotta respect your opponent because they hungry as well. And they division right now, the Lions, are rolling, but the NFC, if you look at the NFC right now, everybody's like a log jam. It's like a lot of 4-4s, 3-4s. So we got to start winning these NFC games, not just the NFC South games, but you want to start winning some of these tiebreakers. So if it does come down to you lose the division, you still get in the playoffs with one of those wild cards. So we still want to win this game regardless. I'm looking at the Saints games and the Bucks game and the last Panthers game, but I'm also looking at these NFC opponents. And, we lost to the Commanders. Good news is they are kind of starting a downward spiral. They didn't trade it, Chase away and Sweat away. So they kind of hurt their chances. But, I really just any NFC game in general, I'd be like, this is must win. We got to win it if we want to be a playoff team, whether we win our division or whether you want a spot at the the wild card.
Well, you watch how Bijan is going to be used tomorrow with Heineke in there and CP. I think those are going to be very important pieces of the offense. Algier, he's going to be the sledgehammer regardless. But watch how he used Bijan and watch how he used CP tomorrow. That's going to be very big. Everybody else is going to have pieces in the game.
Yeah, I need them to get them involved earlier, man. I don't know what's up with CP and Algier. To me, they got to get in the game. Bump all of this Bijan, like feeding him the ball. Yeah, get him the ball, but get all of the running backs involved because I feel like they all add their own type of element to the game. And I feel like Bijan's element is not necessarily physicality. His element is the speed and the agility, athleticism. But I feel like CP and Tyler Algier kind of add that physicality, especially in the red zone. Take Bijan out and put them guys in and let them run downhill. Because I feel like that's been some of our issue too in the red zone. It's like we go away from CP and we go away from Algier. And to me, those should be your goal line type. Those should be your backs when you get into the red zone. I like Bijan. I think Bijan can do it all. We seen him with the toss last week, but to me, when it comes to all right, we finna knuckle down and just go right up the A or B gap, man, put CP or Algier in the game. Let them guys.
And Heineke gonna tell him that. Heineke gonna tell Arthur Smith that. My only prediction for this game is gonna be if we have a good drive on that first drive and score, the Vikings are in trouble.
Yeah, we got to get out early. I was saying that early.
Not a field goal. Not a field goal. If we drive on them and score a touchdown, the Vikings are in trouble.
Yeah, I agree with you because we want to be playing with a lead, especially because they got a young quarterback. We want to make this game one dimensional. I want to take Minnesota's running game out of the game altogether. I want to let our defensive line to pin their ears back.
But I'm not thinking we're not going to win. But I'm not going to say it. I ain't gonna put my mouth on it like I did last week with the Titans. But that's my only prediction. If we drive on this defense and score a touchdown on our first drive, they are in trouble.
They're in trouble. Yeah, I agree with you. Look, hopefully we can get out to a fast start. I'm gonna grab this super chat while you're up here with me. Let's see here. So this is my brother-in-law with the $4.99 super chat. Okay. He a Vikings fan. He says, "Skol, laugh out loud. Only way I see y'all beating us is if Taylor outplays our rookie quarterback. Whoever wins the turnover battle got this in the bag." Yeah, I completely agree. I appreciate the super chat. Yeah, he hit the nail on the head. Like the turnovers gotta stop. The turnovers, and that's the one thing that I'm like telling the fans, I'm not overlooking that with Desmond Ridder. The turnover were egregious. We had a lot of turnovers. You can't do that in the NFL, but I'm not gonna sit here neither and act like he the only quarterback doing that because I'm sitting here watching Jalen Hurts have about 7 fumbles and all this stuff and throwing interceptions, and I see his defense backing him up. You know what I'm saying? His guys making plays to come back from it. So I'm like, I can't just focus on, okay, well, these turnovers, that's the only thing that's holding us back because I can't subscribe to that. I've been seeing a lot of stuff about he's a 3rd round pick and you don't give 3rd round picks that much leeway to it's like, come on, man. Come on. The dude is a rookie.
Do you think the turnover battle is why we lost last week?
I think it's more on the field position. I keep saying that returning those punts within you don't catch punts within your own 15-yard line. You learn that in high school. You don't do that. You learn that in Pee Wee. If you punting and stuff like that, you can't catch the ball. I don't know what Hughes was doing. I'm like, why he keep catching the ball? Just run away from it. At one point, I was like, don't even put nobody back there. So you ain't got to worry about them catching. Yeah.
Especially with the new rules they came out with. That was a dumb move.
All right, I'm like, why are you even catching that? Like, he kept catching it. I'm like, you putting your team, they already pinning their ears back, and now you putting your team back up where they got to go 80+ yards to score a touchdown. And you already see we struggling. Why are you doing that? Let they push that ball out to the 25. At one point, I was like, just take the returner from being back there. You ain't got to make no decision. Just let it kick it. It ain't nobody back there to catch it. So you ain't got to worry about somebody messing up.
Right.
Let me see here. And if anybody else want to jump in here with us, y'all can jump in here with us as well, man. But I appreciate you jumping in here,
Okay,
man. Give me
man.
your
Yeah.
opinion, man. Like I tell people, come up here and give me your opinion. I ain't gonna say nothing because look, at the end of the day, I'm not a professional. I'm giving my personal opinion. At the end of the
Right.
day, Heineke might come in here and go on a 5-game winning streak and shut me up, and I'm gonna be happy because guess what? I'm a Falcons fan first. I could care
Exactly.
less. I'm rooting for the kid. I don't care about if it's Ritter. I don't care if it was Mariota. I don't care if it was Matt Ryan. Whoever back there and wearing that red and black, I'm a root for you. Like hell, I'm a root for you, man.
Shoot, I don't care if they put Wilson in there.
Hey, I'm a root for whoever back there, man. I'm
Exactly.
a root for him. I ain't rooting against the team because I wanted my way to work. Hey, if they ball out, and I'm gonna tell Arthur Smith I was wrong. He was right. He did the right move. Like you said, he did it at the perfect time. I might feel like it's a bad time, but look, if they go on a win streak, then it was the perfect time. I was wrong.
It was good timing, bro. It was good. Trust me, it's good timing.
Okay, look, I'm gonna
For
listen to
everybody.
my elders. You've been watching football longer than me. I'm
Right.
listen to my elders in this
Right.
situation. I'm gonna just let it play out. Like I tell people, wait and see. I'm gonna wait and see. Get my popcorn out and wait and see what happens.
What time you coming on tomorrow? Are you doing something after the game?
Usually I go on with Mad Mike and Kay. We all go on the Heavy Hitters Live channel. So usually that's like at like 4:30ish, right after the game. Usually right after the game, unless they go to the game or they go to like the bar or something like that to watch it.
Yeah, I'm in Atlanta now. I'm going to the game. So I was gonna say if it's gonna be 4:30, I might be able to get on.
Yeah, we're gonna probably jump on probably like at 4:30ish, usually like 4:30, no later than 5, but most times it's like 4:30 unless they at the game. Then it'll be sometimes we push it out to like 6 if they go to the game.
Okay.
Yeah,
all
man.
Right, well, I appreciate you dropping that link.
Hey, every Saturday I'm gonna try to drop it because I like to hear the fans' perspective. Y'all hear me talk all the time. I want to hear what y'all thinking because look, I learned from you guys. I don't know it all. I'm giving my opinion.
That's all I'm doing. I'm just doing it from the eye test.
Hey, all right.
All right, buddy.
All right,
appreciate
man. What's going on, man? What you got for me, Jerry?
Jude, what's going on? How's everything going with you?
Hey, man, I'm doing good, man. Getting ready for this game tomorrow, man. This is a big game, 4-4.
Oh yeah, it's definitely gonna be a good one to see for sure. I feel like when it comes down to the quarterback situation, at first it's kind of a question of when did he get the concussion and everything because I didn't realize it until they said it on the sideline there, but regardless of everything, this regime I feel like has made some moves. They've put it out there, the type of culture they want to have. There's been some questions here and there, but the benefits have definitely outweighed that. So I trust them. I trust them to feel like to do whatever they think is necessary. Maybe they saw some on film. Maybe they felt like there were some moments that he may have kind of lost a little confidence or something. I can't really speak to for certain why they would have made this move, but of course the turnovers are bad, and he was getting better every game, with the exception of the turnovers. But like you said, there are some things that not just the quarterback was responsible for. So I'm thinking that maybe they saw something, and then on top of that, you bring in the veteran guy, which I was saying this when we signed Taylor Heineke, which I like Taylor Heineke, by the way. But if you're all in on a guy, why do you give a 3-year contract to a guy who's actually proven, who's been to the playoffs, shown you that he can, play some good football behind the younger guy if you're all in? So part of me was thinking, like, I don't really feel like they're all in. I kind of felt like this was that they were just going to evaluate him. And worst case scenario, if it just blows up, well, we do have a veteran guy who can step in and run with it. And then maybe we get our guy in the draft, or maybe we make a move in free agency, whatever the case may be. They're still hanging on to Ritter because we've seen him do some positive things and stuff like that. But I just kind of felt like they were never really just 100% in. And then even in the offseason, the media kind of, said that the media kind of tricked one of the guys into saying it. And Arthur Smith was like, oh, so y'all kind of, got it out of him because they didn't want to share that, hey, we're going to go with him this season or whatever, which is another thing. And then, of course, when we look at this regime, a lot of people are saying that, well, Arthur Smith was hired before Terry Fontenot, but I distinctly remember that Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot was actually brought in together. One of them was hired first because the Titans had lost a playoff game before the Saints, so they couldn't officially hire Terry Fontenot because the Saints still were playing in the playoffs versus the Titans had lost already. So it was easy to go on and make that announcement or whatever. So I really don't know if it'll be like, oh, if we move on from these guys, Terry Fontenot deserved to bring in this guy, because I remember him saying that, they did ask him in that interview some guys that he liked, and Arthur Smith was one of them,
Right.
So
what's your feeling about the game tomorrow? Like, are you feeling good after seeing the second half last week? How you feel about this game coming up against the Vikings?
I actually feel good every week about us playing, because the defense has actually done really well. Now, the last game, I get it. We didn't, the defense had one bad game. Of course, you didn't know what you're going to get because, Real Levis hadn't played all season long. So it's kind of like, we're just going to game plan and, do the best we can with, what's out there. But I feel like this defense has actually done a great job all season long of holding up. And that's not to knock the Vikings defense, but I kind of feel like what makes their defense more improved is they do send a lot of blitzes. They do get pressure from a lot of those blitzes. So this would have been a game for sure. Ritter would have had to definitely have it together because they coming. You know what I'm saying? It's for sure. So I feel good because regardless, even if our offense has to adjust later in the game before they can actually start putting up points, we've all season long depending on our defense to give us more opportunities. So with us having a better defense, I'm confident. I'm very confident that we can still pull this win. Especially, I'm not gonna say, oh, it's a rookie quarterback, and we did that last week, and we can't do that. We can't keep doing this to ourselves. Even if it was the Chicago Bears, we can't just go in here complacent and think it's gonna be easy for the defense. The defense is still gonna have to go in there and take care of business, regardless of what's going on in this game, whether they run it man to man or whether they switch it over or they switch the quarterback at the half, however it goes, you still got to show up to play. These guys are trying to win. They're 4-4 just like you are. So in the Titans last week, they weren't completely out of it as well. People were talking about they were going to ship everybody out, but they said, no, we're keeping, King Henry, we're keeping our guys. We shipped out the other guys that we didn't want to keep. We're going to keep rolling. So we have to show up ready to play just like we do any game. And I feel like as long as we keep that mentality, we should bring home that win.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I definitely think in this game, we have this Falcons team has the talent, and we've seen it, especially the defensive side of the ball. They've been holding things down. So at home, we played really, really well. So I really feel like we get out to an early lead and get that crowd in the game. I really feel like that crowd adds another, dimension, or adds another, advantage, that home field advantage that we haven't had over the last couple of seasons, that crowd noise and stuff like that. And it gives those guys that's coming off the edge that half a second. Bud Dupree and all of those guys, I really feel like they're on fire, especially after Grady going down with that injury. I really feel like them guys are going to play inspired. And those guys are ticked off. Like you said, they didn't play well last week, but that's going to happen. This is the NFL. They're going to be ups and downs, and that's why when the offense ain't playing well, the defense been holding it down. But when the defense has those hiccups, we need our offense to pick it up and our special teams to pick it up. And last week, none of those other, the other units helped the defense out. The offense didn't play well until the second half, and then the special teams played horrible. They played their worst game of the season. So,
especially the punt return. And I see that they went head on and put D. Alford on the starting lineup. So I think they just went head on and looked at that and just saw how crucial that was with field position. I mean, you keep getting the same field position every play. I mean, every time the offense get on the field, I mean, it was easy for the defense on the other team to just put pressure on Ritter.
Yeah,
and that's how come he couldn't really get nothing going. But with that being said, I do understand that when it comes to coaches, in the NFL, they try to, you got to be careful how you bitch players and stuff like that. And like you said, you can lose the locker room. You can cause some confusion amongst the players, because most of them players, they say they stand behind this player, and that's what they mean. Now, I also want to say players also look at it from the perspective, look, I'm here, whoever's taking those snaps or whoever's out there, I'm playing no matter what, regardless. Now, some players may have that mentality, but not all of them do. So they do have to definitely be careful how they handle the situation with the quarterback. I feel like you went to Heineke, so and I know they're telling the press something else. They always have done that, you know what I'm saying, since they've been here. I feel like they probably just looked at that whole situation and said, okay, we got 8 games into the season, so we're at pretty much at the halfway point. Our goal, they set goals just like everybody else do. We want to make the playoffs this year. Maybe we do need to make the decision now. And they probably thought about it. They probably, got together, had meetings on it. They said Taylor Heineke got a text at 10 something at night. So ain't no telling how long those guys was in there thinking, should we do it or should we not do it? You know what I'm saying? So I don't think it had nothing to do with no concussion, to be honest with you. They said that, but I don't believe it.
Yeah, I don't know what to believe now. Like, once you start lying to me, I don't know what to believe. Now I don't know if anything you're telling me is the truth. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Exactly.
You just said that up front. Like they keep saying, like, Desmond Ritter's a grown man. Yeah, he's in his second year. He's a young player, but I'm sure he's been benched at some point in his life. So if you benching him because of his play, just be upfront and say that. He turning the ball over. We all see it. We seen it. You ain't gotta hide it. Just say. And
just say it. Yeah.
Yeah, ball security. He said it about 3-4 times when they interviewed him. I was turning the ball over. It's ball security. I got to protect the football. That's a part of the game. So don't try to lie to us or don't try to lie to the media because you ain't saving nobody. When you do that, now everything you do, now we're looking at you like you shady. I'm just be honest. I'm looking at Art Smith like now we don't know what to believe.
Exactly. I'm 100% with you on that because I'm feeling the same way. Like, if you ain't saying, if you can't just come out and say it, it's almost as if, and we can kind of look at it the way we want to look at it. People write their own story based on the signs and stuff because they don't have the answers. But some may think, well, maybe this was an executive decision, saying or something.
Right. Well, I've heard that too. I've heard just from my little insiders that they saying like that it was some people from up top. So I'm saying I don't know who's made it clear. But at the end of the day, he was turning the ball over. And I keep telling people, I'm not absolving Ritter of the turnovers because he is turning the ball over. So the people that saying like, yeah, we benched him because of the turnovers, I can agree with that. I feel like he gets a share of that pie. When we slicing that pie up, he get a slice of that pie of. He's one of the reasons why we lost some of these games. But I just feel like he's kind of been the scapegoat. It's like it was Desmond Ritter, but then I'm seeing on Twitter, I'm seeing cut-ups where I'm looking like, well, dang, it ain't nobody open. Who he gonna throw to?
Yeah.
He's telling people he's staring people down, staring down wide receivers, and I'm looking at the play like I ain't seen not one person open. I ain't seen not one person look back for the football, and I see a defensive end coming unblocked 2-3 times. That got mathematics. That ain't got nothing to do with the player.
Especially in Simmons, man. The Simmons were killing us in that game. We couldn't get past that guy for nothing.
Yeah, man. So you want to give us a score prediction for the game?
Well, and it's a home game, so I'm going to give you my score prediction for the game. We got a good defense. I feel like they are playing a young quarterback, and they're of course I think I've heard them talk about what's the running back, the starting running back they had before.
You talking about the Vikings?
The Vikings starting running back.
They got Cam Akers and they got
not Cam Akers, the other guy.
Madison.
Yeah, I've heard that they haven't been very pleased with how he's doing. They felt like Cam Akers is better, so I don't know if they're going to kind of just do a running back by committee or any of that. But I kind of feel like our defense has done a pretty good job stopping the run, and when you pair that with them not being too happy about their starting running back, I can see us limiting them to only maybe 2 scores, 10 points or so. And then, of course, us, I think we're going to be running the ball and throwing the ball. I think we're going to be well balanced. So I'll give us, 21-10.
21-10? Okay, I can see that happening. I think the key for Minnesota, real talk, is Hockenson. I think the tight end Hockenson for their team, because our linebackers are not the best in coverage. I really think that he's going to be the X factor, and they, in their passing game, because I think Cam Akers is going to not Cam Akers, but Jordan Addison, I think is going to draw a lot of attention from AJ Terrell. So if you kind of take him out of the game, which right now is like their main guy, I really feel like Hawkinson is going to be the X factor for their team. If he can control the middle of the field, and line him up against guys like Nate Landman, line him up against guys like Ellis in the middle of the field, I really feel like our linebackers sometimes struggle to cover, and I feel like that will be the guy on their team. If anybody's gonna have a big day in the passing game, I think it's gonna be Hawkinson.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it would be him because you're right. Our linebackers aren't great. Our best cover linebackers are on IR, so that is a good point. They could, and I also could see a Jesse Bates doing kind of like he did the first game of the season. Them kind of rolling him down, or maybe putting an additional safety on the field to counter that if that becomes a problem. Maybe they kind of roll out and I know we did get one guy, one of our safeties hurt, Helms. Maybe they bring out Abernathy. Maybe they bring him out. Yeah. Or maybe they bring Trey Flowers out, whichever one, if they're having issues across the middle of the field.
Yeah, I mean that's the only chance I think that they have, but I'm excited for the game. I'm confident, but last week I was overconfident. So this game I'm tempering that down a little bit. Like we should win this game. We better win this game, but I'm not on the level of okay, they can't beat us, because I was kind of in that mode last week where I was like, man, I really don't think Tennessee gonna be able to do nothing with us, and they came out and they proved me wrong. So in this game, I tempered it down a little bit. Quarterback change, so now I'm just gonna wait and see. But I think we still should win this game. We're the more talented team. If we lose this game, then I'm really gonna be side-eyeing this coaching staff.
I'm with you on that. I kind of felt like that we kind of lost some games like that Washington. Until this day, I'm still looking at that Washington game with the side eye. Like, how in the world did we lose that game? Yeah. The stats was horrible for Washington, and I know the turnovers are really the reason. But still, like, even with those, you still should have won that game. I just don't know. But yeah, I'm with you. Like I say, you can't just assume, it's an NFL. These guys are here. They're trying to go to the playoffs too. And then it's a conference game. It's, as well. So these games are very vital when it comes to looking at tiebreakers and stuff. So it's going to be key. I think we're 3-2 in it. NFC, I believe, and we're 2-0 in the division. So we're still looking pretty good. We just need to get more in the win column.
Yeah, we just got to tighten up. We're doing all right, but we got to tighten up. We got to win these NFC matchups. Like, and this is one of the ones where you don't have no excuse. No Kirk Cousins, no Jefferson out there for the Vikings. Those are their two best players. If you can't win this game, like I said, I'm looking at you sideways. Everybody, not just the coaching staff, the players too. They better come to play, because in this game, they're hungry. You know what I'm saying? They even found life. They done won like the last 2 or 3 games. So the Vikings are getting confident.
Yeah, buddy. And then I'm ready to see what our D line is going to look like, because Grady Jarrett was just getting double teamed a lot. And Onyemata, man, he was winning his battles. Now I can truly see them looking at Onyemata and saying, as long as we take him out the equation, and it's going to be key to see who is it? Albert Huggins. Yeah, I think he's the one that's moving in. So it's gonna be, interesting to see how that turns out.
Oh yeah, well, I got my popcorn ready, but I'm gonna let somebody else come up in here, man. But I appreciate you joining me, man.
All right, man. Appreciate you allowing me to come on. Thank you so much.
No problem, man. I'll holler at you.
All right.
Are you still with me? What's going on, man?
Man, what's going on, man?
Hey, what you got for me?
Man, I'm gonna tell you. Let's start with this game tomorrow. I feel like this game, it definitely should be a win. I feel like it has to be a win. I've been really saying it all week on other platforms that this, I think, is a game that obviously with the quarterback change, Heineke now in there, this is really a game you look at it and you should win. This is going to tell a lot about Arthur Smith in the long term. Because something I'm going to point out, this is a game we should win. There's been games in the past. This is Arthur Smith's third year. Games he should win, it really feels like he fails to put his foot on other teams' throats when he really has the opportunity to, when the Falcons have the opportunity to. That's the thing with Arthur Smith. He's been here 3 years. We only have 3 games with a win of more than one score. And obviously, a win is a win, and you'll take it however you can get it. But I feel like tomorrow has to be an opportunity. Now, will tomorrow be a dominating win? I don't think you can say that with a lot of confidence. But this is a game I feel like tomorrow you have to come out and you have to have a good showing game. I feel like the offense with Taylor in there, I feel like you're going to see a spark in that offense. You're going to see, even with the Drake London out, this is a big Bijan Robinson type of game. I really feel it. And I think you're also going to see them put Kyle Pitts more in the X position, and you're going to have Jonnu as your inline tight end. So that's going to really create, I think, more so. You're going to see Taylor Heineke, who's the post veteran, back there. Obviously, Minnesota likes to blitz. They can get pressure, and they have Danielle Hunter. But I think you're going to see at times Taylor Heineke, he's going to look like that post veteran. Not a lot of tapes on him. But this feels like a big Bijan game to me tomorrow.
Okay. So how you feeling about the quarterback change? Do you think it was the right time to make the move, or?
Man, I'm going to be honest with you. I want to see Ritter succeed, and I still do. Was I expecting it? No, not necessarily. Was it the right move to make? I think time is honestly going to tell. But right now, we do have to roll with Heineke. I'm going to say this, though. I think in the long term, what Arthur Smith really was looking at was the 2019 Tennessee Titans, where they sat Mariota middle of the season. They brought Ryan Tannehill, the veteran, in, looking for another opportunity after leaving Miami. And they went and made a run to the AFC Championship game, obviously because of that running game. But Ryan Tannehill was still there to manage games and play a role. So was the quarter – now, granted, Ritter, the turnovers, the Washington game, I don't think besides the fumble he played really a bad first half at all. I mean, did you see Kurt Warner's video where he broke down like some of that stuff?
I seen it. Yeah, I talked about it a little bit early in the show. Like I said, it was bad. Nobody was
like
open.
Some of the stuff. Yeah, exactly. No one was open. It was not favorable to any quarterback. Kurt Warner said, "I'm taking a sack." I mean, anyone would have taken a sack. No one is set up for success with some of those plays. Just everyone going downfield on a play action was one of them. You had no one over the middle. No one Bijan was the only check down, and he got it out to him. Ritter. I mean, you have to set your young quarterback up. You have to set any quarterback up in a good situation. You can't just go out there with boneheaded play calling and play designs. Now, I think the play design thing, that has to fall not only on Arthur Smith, but Dave Ragone as well. But you have to come out. Now, I'll say, I think with Heineke in there, you're going to see him step up and speak up more because Taylor Heineke has seen it all in the NFL, and he's faced it all. He's not scared to step up to the head coach and say, hey, this thing doesn't look like. It's not like with Desmond Ritter. Let's be honest. He still had the training wheels on Desmond Ritter, I believe. Taylor Heineke, I mean, he goes out there and plays like he has nothing to lose. So he's not going to be scared to put his 2 cents in. And if he doesn't think something is right, he's not scared to voice his opinion. I feel like this is going to be a game that the offense is going to come out and play pretty good. And I think this is a great bounce back spot for the defense, playing against a young rookie quarterback, making his first ever start. So it's going to be very interesting to see who steps up. And obviously, Grady Jarrett's presence on that field, it cannot be replaced. But who can step up to at least somewhat neutralize it? Is it going to be a Zach Harrison? Is it going to be a Taquan Graham? Obviously, Onyemata. He's going to get a lot more attention. So you're going to have one of those guys step up.
Yeah. I think it'll come down to I think Taquan Graham is that guy that can step up, but they also brought in Street. I don't know if he'll play yet, but I watched some tape on him, and I remember when he was with New Orleans, he's one of those guys that's a solid. He's kind of like a Grady Jarrett build, but he's a little bit bigger than Grady Jarrett, but he's very good against the run. So I definitely think Katavius Street could be one of those guys that can help as well. But Taquan Graham was playing really well before his injury last year. So he's the guy I'm looking to. I heard Zach Harrison's name being thrown out there, but Zach Harrison, to me, he's a rookie. So
bringing him in slowly. Exactly.
Yeah,
And you talk about Contavious Street. I mean, that made all the sense in the world for us to go and get a guy like that because we know how much they value relationships and connections.
Yeah.
I mean, you see it in basically all of their pickups. So the fact that they went and traded for a guy like Contavious Street, I thought as soon as Grady goes down, if they're trading for a guy, that's probably going to be a guy that they're trading for because he was with Nielsen in New Orleans. He has familiarity in that defense.
Right. So what's your thoughts as far as a score? What's your score prediction for tomorrow's game?
I'll say I think score prediction, I said 27-13. That's what I'm going to stick with. I feel like this is a game, as I said, defense comes out, great opportunity to go and really be able to rattle that rookie quarterback, get pressure. I feel like the secondary without Justin Jefferson, I mean, Addison is the only – remember Brandon Powell?
Yeah.
He's like I think he's like Minnesota's number 2 receiver because I don't know if Osborne was on the injury report. I don't know if he's playing tomorrow. So Brandon Powell has been featured a lot in that offense, really in the slot more so. But other than Jordan Addison, I think that's a good opportunity for AJ too. Get it right versus a young rookie who, even though Jordan Addison for a rookie has had a great season, he hasn't necessarily. I mean, he went up against Jair Alexander, and he didn't have all that special of a game last week. So I think this is a good bounce back opportunity for AJ. I think Jesse Bates you're going to see in there making plays. I do think Hawkinson he is going to be because I'm going to ask you a question. What is a rookie quarterback's best friend?
A tight end in a running game.
Exactly. And Minnesota don't have no running game. So it's going to be Hawkinson. He is the only guy on that offense that really concerns me. I feel like we're going to take care of Addison. Hawkinson's the only guy that really concerns me in that offense. So I feel like we're going to come out. And I think I could definitely see us getting a fast start, finishing it off in the second half with guys like Algier. But I think this is a big Bijan Robinson game. You're going to get him involved early. You're going to see a lot of him early. You're going to see Kyle Pitts here and there. I think Van Jefferson, even though he had that drop last week, he's another guy that you're going to see step up here and there in this game. So I feel like this is a good opportunity to bounce back because look at this. Obviously, we have Arizona next week, which a lot of people would probably chalk down as another, that's a win. Arizona plays tough, and Kyler Murray could very well be back next week. Then you go into the bye, and coming out the bye, look what you have. You open up out of the bye the Saints at home. That's going to be a huge game. I mean, the Saints game is always a big game, but that probably determines who's first in the division after that point. You're at the Jets. They play a stingy brand of football. But home versus Tampa Bay, at Carolina, 2 division games. Indianapolis. Then you close out the year at Chicago, at New Orleans. So you do have to go and get a win on Sunday. I feel that's very important because notice now, this is the 4th time in 6 years in the last 3 years. Every year with Arthur Smith, we have found ourselves at 4-4 through the midway point of the season. And that has been the crossroads. That has been, after we get to 4-4, we reach the crossroads. Does the season go to the point where, okay, we can stay in these games, win some of these games, stay in the playoff race, or is the season just going to go down the gutter? The last 2 years, after we got to 4-4, we went on a losing streak. Last year, we got to 4-4, and then we lost, I want to say, 4 out of our next 5 games. So that really shows that 4-4 is kind of that pivotal point for this team. And a win on Sunday would be huge, and it has to be done.
Yeah, I definitely agree. You got anything else for me?
Not really, man. Not really. As I say, I think Heineke is the spark that they hope to bring in, and they hope can really – is this the end for Ritter as the starter? I don't know. I think that all depends on how Heineke plays. But Heineke is going to be the spark that they hope can – veteran presence, spark in that offense, isn't scared to take the shot downfield and get the receivers involved. So I feel like you're going to see that they hope because look at Taylor Heineke the past few years. Whenever he's came in, there's obviously been a spark, but then as it gets to the end of the season, it wears out. That's the concerning thing. Washington, the last 2 years with him playing, has been in firm playoff position heading into the final few weeks, and they end up not making it. So you have to hope. Now, obviously, I would argue that Taylor Heineke didn't have the running game that we have, but another thing, too, you have to really open up this offense to get that running game going at full pace now because teams know where Arthur Smith is going with this running game and how to stop, a lot of these runs. So you have to open up this offense. You have to get that for that running game to get going the final few weeks. But Sunday, tomorrow, has to be when I'll be in the bins. We got to get involved, and we got to stay on Minnesota's throat all 4 quarters.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, man. I think this is a must win. The next 2 weeks are must wins, but we definitely got to start winning these NFC matchups because when it comes down to playoff implications, you want to have these tiebreakers on your side, because right now it's a bunch of teams that's right there, either at 500, 1 game behind, and the Saints now they're 4-4, but I think they playing like Chicago or something like that tomorrow. So I'm assuming that they're going to beat Chicago because I don't think Justin Fields is playing. So we got to start winning these games, man. And we lost last week on a crucial, one of the crucial games, but I feel like this is even more crucial because it's the NFC.
Defense is always going to have games like that. Now, I'll say this also. You bring up, the playoff race. The thing that benefits us, and obviously we haven't played New Orleans yet. We still got to face Carolina and New Orleans again. But we are 2-0 in the division so far.
Yeah, we're looking good right now. We're sitting pretty.
So if we can win, the games versus, I don't think we're going undefeated in the division. I think one of them will catch us if we're being real. We want to go undefeated, but you have to face it for what it is. But you got to beat the Saints at least once. You got to take care of either, Tampa Bay or Carolina. You have to go at least 4-2 in this division, I feel, to be able to win it.
Yeah, I agree with you. We got to get it on the stranglehold. But yeah, man, I appreciate you joining me, man. As always, like anytime. Yeah, man. I appreciate you.
All right, man. Have a good day, man.
All right, you too. All right, y'all, man. Well, I appreciate the ones that joined me. I'm finna get ready to wrap it up. It's 6:30, so we've been on for about 1 hour and 30 minutes. But I really appreciate each and every one of you guys joining as always. Looking forward to this game tomorrow. So you guys definitely give me your thoughts. Comment below, like, share, subscribe. Not just here on my channel here at Utah Sports, but go over to the Heavy Hitters Live channel. We're almost at 500. So definitely go and hit that like and subscribe button for us there. Also, definitely go over and show AFN some love. Hit that like and subscribe button there as well. They'll be doing their pregame show tomorrow, which they do before every game on Sunday. So y'all go check those guys out as well. But with that being said, man, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. As always, Falcons Nation, rise up, be blessed. Peace.